Greetings of the day. Now we'll be checking something about last minute tips for IELTS. So many candidates try to cram before the examinations as if this is board examination or competitive examinations. So this is nothing like that. This is just a language tester which is trying to check your skills in 4 different ways: listening, reading, writing and speaking. That's it. So this is not something which you can attain or acquire overnight. So they are trying to check your skills which you have learned so far from your school days till today. Right. Now, what is the case with listening? So in listening, you'd be expecting mostly fill in the blanks or choose the right letter kind of questions. Rarely you can expect maps, but there is a 50% chance of getting maps or pictures in section 2 of your listening test. So whatever the case be, in listening test, we might often get disturbed with some wrong answers. Say I have got third answer incorrect, or I could not get an answer for third question. Obviously this might have an impact on the rest of the questions because we still think about that lost answer. This should never happen. So if you think you have lost a question, leave it there itself and continue at least for the next questions. So you could easily do better for the rest of the questions. So don't think about the lost answer. Here you need to maintain that cool attitude, be positive. And even if you get 40 by 40 in your IELTS, there is no one to give you a gold medal or an award here. So even if you lose 10 questions out of 40, you'll still be able to get band 7, which is far enough for IELTS academic candidates. And even for general training, you'd be getting band 8 even if you lose 5 questions, right? So don't try to get everything like 40 by 40. Still, if you lose 1 or 2 questions, don't lose your cool anyways. Next, we'd be checking reading also. So what is the case with reading? And many candidates know that reading is the biggest killer in your examination. So when it comes to reading, here you put all your efforts to give the best. Still, we have to manage with time many a times. So at last you might get this feeling that you have lost many of the questions, or you are still not left with much time to deal with all the questions. So this eventually happens for most of the candidates. So if you are in such a kind of tough situation where you could not answer everything, you better try to just randomly select answers for true, false, not given and this multiple choice questions. For multiple choice questions, if I am in the last section, so I have questions 27 to 30, some 4 questions, put all C. That's it. Don't again take a dice if you don't have time to read the passage. Similarly, for true, false, not given, if you are somewhere in the last section, you better write all true or only all not given, but don't take a dice. So in this case, even if you don't have time to read the passage, still there is 33% chance for getting at least the correct answer, isn't it? So that is the case for true, false, not given. And for choose the right letter, you better mark a single answer for all of them. No one is there to question you. You don't need to worry. If someone asks you, you better say that I'm convinced with true for each question. So nothing to worry about much. Next, writing. So here in writing, it is advisable to start with task 2 and then come back to task 1. Usually in the examination these days, you are getting writing as a first part, followed by writing. You'd be expecting listening and then reading. So here, if you get writing, you better start with task 2 first, that is essay first, and then move on to task 1 back. The reason is, for pen and paper test, you'll have a yellow paper and a white paper. Yellow paper indicates the task 1 and white paper task 2, but you'll see that at the top, writing task 1 or writing task 2. Right. Whether it be for general training or academic, please start with writing task 2. Why? You have 2/3 weightage for writing task 2. You'll be having 66.67% weightage to be precise for writing task 2, and only 1/3 weightage, that is 33.33% weightage for task 1, whether it be report writing or letter writing. Right. So here, better start with task 2, because this is what happens with most of the candidates. We generally start with task 1 in the guise of giving our best for the test. For task 1, where you have to spend just 20 minutes, we try to give our best and we spend around 30 minutes, 40 minutes, sometimes 50 minutes only for task 1. Unfortunately, where you have to spend more time, that is task 2, we are ready to spoil that. And eventually this will be reflected on the scores. Got it? And lastly, speaking. Speaking these days is mostly scheduled online, whether you are taking pen and paper test or computer delivered test, because of the availability of examiners. So whether it be online or face-to-face, whatever the case be, you'll be getting same stuff. Now, when it comes to online tests, online doesn't mean you have to take the test at home. You need to go to the test center and take the test. So here you'll get exactly same stuff which happens with face to face, even in online also. That's a live interview anyways. Here for speaking, sometimes, not sometimes, almost, many candidates would be nervous because that fellow might be a stranger. So you don't need to know, like you'd be more panic how to answer that questions, or if I don't understand the question, what should I do? Or if I suddenly go blank while I'm speaking, what should I do? You might be having a number of questions in your mind. Don't worry, your examiners are really helpful here. If you don't get any question, you better ask them in a polite manner that you did not understand that question. Like, I'm afraid I didn't get that question. Could you please repeat that for me? They definitely help you with that, right? So on the speaking test also, on the speaking test day as well, stay comfortable and be confident. So you don't need to overdo anything, just try to be yourself. You don't need to show any new accent here and surprise them. Be yourself and try to give the best of you, right? And with regard to speaking, sometimes if you don't understand the question, you better speak something. If the examiner feels that they are not getting a point for that question, they try to rephrase that and put that in other words, right? So if you further feel there are a few more questions that you have to deal with, please let me know. I'd be helping you with that. Thank you.